Hey guys, what's up? So, off the back of the video that I recorded yesterday, I got some questions about men's circles because I did mention that in the last video. And people are asking, what is a men's circle? This sounds a little bit gay. It's not, I guarantee it. So, I wanted to talk about what is a men's circle, what are the benefits, and also what is the actual structure that we follow on the calls that I facilitate or that I've been part of. So, a men's circle, the title kind of suggests it, is a council of men coming together to have unguarded conversations, to talk about life, to explore the mysteries, the riddles about life with other men, talk about openly about feelings and express energies that normally that maybe have no place in society or not welcomed there. And it's a space for open conversations where you're able to share yourself with other men, get some feedback, get a different perspective, and sometimes even some tough love, which we as men need. Now, this is very different from conversations you can have with your spouse, with your girlfriend, with your partner, etc., etc. Sure that there's a place for that, but it's a very different dynamic when you talk to other men. And for most guys, for most men, at least what my experience has been, this is a little bit uncharted territory for them. That's why they kind of close up straight away and they're like, maybe this is not to me. This is not for me. But some of the benefits really strike them and you're like, whoa, this is not what I was expecting. So what are some of the benefits? Well, first of all is healing. Let's face it, everybody has traumas, has issues that we need to work on. It's those things that you and I know that we kind of push away. We don't really kind of want to talk about it. We push in the closet and we rarely even rise up to the occasion to actually go and see what's there and see what really we have to deal with. So this is a place where we can do a lot more healing, completely non-judgmental. Everything is confidential, of course. Number two is a place where you're heard. Oftentimes, we really want someone to hear us. And there's something very therapeutic when you start having a conversation, especially with the inquiry, which I'll explain in a second what that is, without interruption. And everything just flows, boom, 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 boom. And you're like, whoa. Whew, I feel a lot lighter, like I wasn't expecting that. And that happened with me, especially when I started doing these a couple years ago. I wasn't really expecting that, but there is something very therapeutic when you really hear yourself, because most of the time you're having these conversations with yourself, everything is here, we overthink things, and we rarely we vocalize it. So whenever you actually hear yourself, you speak out, you voice whatever's been happening in your head, you learn a lot more about yourself, but also you tend to be like, whoa, where did this came from? And you start really learning and bringing a lot more awareness to these things. And the other thing is, it's a space for you to be heard, as I mentioned, but also whenever you speak something, the more personal something is, the more universal it is. What do I mean by this? Well, example yesterday is I was talking about anxiety and panic attacks, etc., etc. The amount of people that actually reach out to me, both men and women, to say, listen, dude, I've had that, or I've been through something like this, or I'm going through something like this, was like, whoa, okay. And because that's something so personal, chances are it's also more universal, because we're human beings. There's the different skin tones and different backgrounds and different languages, all these kind of things, but there is something that's really putting us together. And it's exactly those conversations which we allow to begin and to have those conversations in an environment like this. So a chance for you to be able to relate with other men, which seldomly people do. A lot of men don't necessarily have good male friendships or a group of friends that isn't there, so they feel a little bit alienated. And most of them wouldn't necessarily reach out and start having these conversations, but you'd be surprised whenever men come together, especially when they do not know each other. It's a lot easier for you to be able to share yourself and don't really worry too much about what other people think, because chances are if you're doing it for the first time, it's with people that you don't know, it's even easier to open up. And the final benefit probably is you're gonna save a lot of money, like going to counselors and psychologists, etc., etc. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a benefit for that, but try men's groups first, see what the vibe is like, see whether you like it, whether something resonates with you, and of course you can go and do the counselors, etc., etc. So what is the structure? Structure is obviously varies. There is no right or wrong answers here. What we do in the circles that I facilitate is normally we start with a little bit of breath work or just a few deep breaths. Why? Because most of the time everybody is running to do something. I need to do this and this and this and this, and just like seldomly do we take the time to take a step back, relax, be here, be present, be with the breath. And naturally, this is what I mean by grounding. You really stay here in the present moment. You feel your body, you see what, you feel, you understand what's happening, what sensations are coming present. And then from this point, it's much easier to enter in a place where we have to do check-ins. Check-ins normally you do with 6 or 7 guys. This is probably the recommended number of people that you want in a men's circle. And you check in by saying, this is what's present for me right now, whatever sensations, feelings, etc., etc. Like I said, everything is confidential and everybody's encouraged to speak their truth, whatever is present for them right now. There is no right or wrong, as I said. It's just conversation. You talking and other men listening. And afterwards, we can do a round of inquiries. An inquiry is, think about it as active meditation. Now, the difference between an inquiry and a story, in a story you normally have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have a certain intention that you want to communicate to other people, and it's very descriptive. With the inquiry, what's really encouraged there is for you to be curious. And it starts something like, I feel maybe a little bit anxious, or maybe there's some sensations going on here. And then that leads to another thing, to another thing, to another thing. And oftentimes you'd be surprised what actually ends up happening. You do this for about 5 or 6 minutes, and most men sometimes they start with something and they go on a completely different tangent, talking about their parents or their girlfriend or whatever. So it's a very therapeutic, very unusual, but very beneficial thing to do. And then again, like I said, it might be different. I like to do a lot more stuff with the body, because what tends to happen is we tend to over intellectualize things, whereas I really want to get into the body and do like something to release this charge, to release this energy that's been stored up. Sometimes we have to scream and shout, whatever feels good. That's why I said this is a place where you can express energies that normally wouldn't necessarily have place in society out there, or maybe isn't welcomed. So at the end we do a closing round where we do maybe a group inquiry where people are kind of giving feedback or talking about what the experience was like, maybe give some suggestions, etc., etc. And that's it. Everything lasts between probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. Cool. If you have any questions about men's circles, men groups, send me a DM. Come join one of the calls that we are facilitating, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe. Done.